Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central, to support each of you. We talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and ultimately what we want to do is help you generate income and adult income by helping others improve their financial literacy and access to capital. So I have my screen shared here. All of you should have a landing page that looks just like this. The new campaign that we're rolling out, which is a great way for you to bring in leads into your funnel, is for a free funding proposal. If you do not have your landing page, we definitely need to get together after the Zoom today, because this is a very effective way, a low risk, no cost way to bring leads into your funnel. Our topic today is overcoming objections, and we'll expand that. So if you have faced objections by prospective participants, or even questions that you either didn't know how to answer, or maybe you're not sure if you answered them in the best way, we're going to vet through that today. That's the purpose. But I don't know what those questions or objections are. You're going to have to tell us. So what we're going to ask you to do is go ahead and go into the Q&A, question and answer function of Zoom. It's much like a chat box, and go ahead and type in either the question or objection, and we're going to work through those today. This should be a very productive session because we have 423 of you on right now. So if each of you just put in the most frequent question or objection that you face, we'll be going through hundreds of those very quickly, of course, and you should be well prepared to overcome those objections, answer those questions. Before we get started, though, we're going to start doing a leaderboard, a daily leaderboard. This is really a bad day to start because yesterday wasn't a particularly strong day. However, yesterday's production, 5/22/2024, we actually had a tie for two top performing affiliates, both at $20,000, and that was Jenny. Let's see if Jenny's on. She was on yesterday. She's not on now. She and I talked last evening. And Norman is Norman. Well, ironically, neither of them are on. Maybe they're out making money. They're too busy to be on the live Zoom. But nonetheless, I mean, it works. The model is working. The model is working. So what are we going to do today? We're going to answer your questions. Well, it's less about your questions, but if it's your question, it's fine. But we're thinking from the perspective of you having an interaction with prospective participants. What questions are they having that's keeping you from getting them to take the next step? I was talking to Willie this morning. Is Willie on? Yeah, Willie's here. Willie's one of our newest affiliates. What Willie and I discussed this morning, and I thought I'd share with you, is that the key is to help the client take just the next step. Just the next step. Now, they need to understand the end goal. We're going to help them get at least 100,000, but many people are busy and they don't necessarily want complicated answers or complicated processes. So what Willie's doing, and he's going to bring on 5 today, so he would have topped the leaderboard yesterday. We'll see how you all do today, but Willie should hit 25,000 today. But the point is, just get them to the next step. Help them get to the next step. All right, so we've got some questions, objections coming in. So that's right, Willie. So it starts with getting clients to your prospective clients to your landing page. So you should have a landing page that looks just like this. Now, there's two approaches, the passive approach and the proactive approach. The passive approach is just get your link out to a bunch of people, and that's okay, and that'll do the trick. But what would be even better is if you were on the phone with them, you text them your link, and then you walk them through it. So let's role play. This is what Willie and I did this morning as I was driving into the office. So let's just role play. So we've got Jeff here. So let's say Jeff's my prospect. And I'd say, hey, Jeff. And so now I'm assuming that Jeff has responded to some ad or something. He at least knows the pitch, right? Because here's the pitch. But now I'm interacting with Jeff. Hey, Jeff, yeah, let's go ahead and let's get your free funding proposal. We'll see what you qualify for. You can get your first tranche in about a week. We can get you offers probably today or tomorrow, get funded in about a week. And then our team will work with you, contractually guaranteed, to help you raise at least 100,000. It's a promise. So, Jeff, do you have access to your text right now? You know he probably does because you're talking to him on the phone in that example. And so you text him your link. Everyone will have a different link. You text him to your link, and you stay on the phone with him and say, okay, Jeff, it's only asking for 4 pieces of information, Jeff. Do you see it? And so assume that your prospect is lost. You know, they're on MSNBC or CNN.com. They somehow didn't click on the link you gave them. So have them validate what they see. Okay, Jeff, let me just make sure. Did you click the link I just sent you? What does it say at the top? You get Jeff to do something to confirm he's on the right page, because amazingly enough, a lot of people will go to the wrong page, even if you give them the link. But once I've confirmed that Jeff's on the page, I'm going to say, okay, Jeff, let's go ahead and put in your first name, your last name, your mobile number, your email, and let me know when you have all that in, Jeff. You wait for a moment. Shouldn't take long, right? He knows that information. All right, then, Jeff, go ahead and click the box and then click the blue bar at the bottom. Did you do that, Jeff? Great, great. Okay. In just a moment, you're going to get a text, and it's asking, do you allow us to communicate with you? You're going to type one word, yes, Y-E-S, in the text. Tell me when you've done that, Jeff. Okay, great, great. Now, 1 minute from now, Jeff, exactly 1 minute from now, you're going to get a text with the link for the app. The app is what we need to be able to get your free funding proposal. The app is not going to create any hard inquiries. There's no upfront costs, but of course we need the application. The top half of the application asks about business information, Jeff. If you don't have all of that, that's okay. You can leave it blank or fill in what you have. The bottom half of the application, Jeff, is your personal information. So I'm going to stay on the line with you, and in 1 minute, Jeff, you're going to get a text with a link to the app. It's into role play. So that is a best practice, is if you're willing to take the time and stay on the time with them, that will get you the best results. You don't have to do that. You can take a much more hands-off approach, but that's where you'll get the best results. All right, so now we have the next. Tom says, after, different Tom, of course, not me, but after the initial first tranche of funding, what's the next step? That's a great point. So once the client has received their first round, so we'll use a real example. We have Karonda, who's one of our affiliates. She's on the webinar right now. Karonda referred in a client. Client received $20,000. I think that's correct, Rhonda. Well, was that right, Rhonda? Did she get 20,000 even? Correct me if I'm wrong. Now we got 20,000 on my mind, and I don't like using the same number over and over. Yeah, it was. So ironically, it was exactly 20,000. Just a coincidence. So what happens when we're contacted from the lender that Karonda's client that she referred in through her landing page received 20,000? We're on the phone calling Karonda. Hey, Karonda, great news. It happened again. Another one of your clients got their first tranche. We're going to be sending over the invoice, Karonda, to your client, and we're going to copy you on it so you see it. And then you may want to encourage the client to pay, because when the client pays, you get paid, right? Because Karonda gets 5 points of her client's capital raise. Each of you get 5 points from your client's capital raise. And those of you that are team leaders get 2-point override from your whole organization. We're not MLM, we're not network marketing, but we need some leadership. And so if you're interested in being a leader, you can be a team leader, but separate from that. So Tom Woodard, not me, Tom was asking what happened. So once Karonda's client pays, then we're paid and Karonda's paid. So that's good. Then what we're going to do is have a consult with the client. Okay, great. We got the first tranche out of the way. Now let's clarify where we're going, client. What's your total capital raise that we're going after? And the client might say, well, I was promised 100,000. What happened? No. We're not changing it. I'm just asking, do you want more than 100,000? Is 100,000 exactly what you want? It's up to the client. We don't have to stop at 100,000, but we need to clarify what's the end goal. And it could be more than 100,000. We're going to ask the client, okay, What type of funding do you want? Do you want personal funding for that? Let's say she said 100,000. Client, do you want 100,000 personal funding, 100,000 business funding, combination, don't care, don't know, where you at? Because again, we've got to build a plan to get the client from where they're at to where they need to be. And it starts with what's the financial goal that we're trying to hit, the funding goal. And then secondly, what you want that composed of. So with that being said, let's say the client says, which they typically do, let's say the client says, well, I want business funding. I don't want it all, I don't want a bunch of personal loans all over my credit. I want business funding. Great. So what do you think would be a very logical question? So those of you that have been with us a bit, those of you that understand the startup program, which is not what we're talking about at the moment, what do you think is the most logical question that you or we or anyone could ask that client? Now that they got 20,000 in their pocket, trust is established, or it should be, right? Because we've delivered what we promised, and they say they want business funding. What's the question we would ask? We'd ask, well, do you have a fundable business currently? You know that, or you should know what it means to have a fundable business. That's the whole gist of the startup program. So the point is, Tom, that in many cases, clients will want business funding. They don't have a fundable business, so then we would refer the client back to you, Tom, or in this example, Karanda, and say, Karanda, just so you know, we talked to your client. The client is wanting business funding. They don't have a fundable business. You may want to speak with them about the startup program. And again, that's not the gist of today's training, but we've talked about this before. You have a really good chance of helping that client enroll in the startup program after their first round of funding through the free funding proposal, because A, they got trust, B, they got cash in their pocket, and C, they have a goal that they are inconsistent with. If the client wants a lot of business funding, but they don't have a fundable business, then the startup program is probably what's going to help them. So we've talked about that some before. Tom, I don't think you were on the Zoom then, so hopefully that makes sense. But we'll help you go through it. As I mentioned earlier, let's just worry about the first step. Are each of you competent and competent and confident in getting people to your landing page? As people come through, they'll get funded. We'll work with you on subsequent steps. But let's master the first step. So again, Jenny, 20,000 yesterday, Norman, 20,000. And there were a bunch of you that made less than that, but had production yesterday. But if you didn't get paid yesterday, we need to master step 1 before we get too bogged down with steps 18 and 19, right? I don't mind answering your questions, but a lot of smart people, and this has nothing to do with Tom Woodard, a lot of smart people, they just make excuses and they want to talk and they don't take action and they never make money. So the key is take action. Feed people into your landing page. We'll take care of them. We'll work with you. Everything else will work out. You don't want to make excuses. Tom asked, yes, there's no upfront cost. Tom, I don't know how to emphasize that more. In this campaign, there's no upfront cost. Clients pay nothing until they're funded. Nothing until they're funded. Let's say it together. Nothing until they're funded. Nothing until they're funded. So that's my fault, Tom. If you all aren't crystal clear on that, that's a key part of this proposition. We need to know that. All right, just got the next question. So he says he's going to makingmillionaires.org and it only shows a video. That is incorrect. Incorrect. Making Millionaires, I know it doesn't look like this because it forwards. This is what makingmillionaires.org looks like. And this is how you would sign up to be a distribution partner if you're not. So it looks like this. And so you can see, I can type it, HTTPS Making Millionaires. So there it is, right? And then where is it forwarded to? It's forwarded to this landing page. So each of you, we're going to give you a free link. If you want to be a team leader, you'll get a landing page that looks like this. But regardless, if you're just out helping clients, you'll get a landing page that looks like this. And it's composed of gobbledygook, right? I understand that. However, you could certainly get a domain name just like we did. So let's go. What domain name did we buy? We bought fundingproposal.online. That's the domain name, but what did we do? We forwarded it to our gobbledygook. So You can just use the gobbledygook, just the raw link if you want, or you can be a little fancier and get a domain and forward it like we did. Hopefully that makes sense. So Jeff, I can't explain it. I mean, if you're going to makingmillionaires.org, it should look like this, just like I demonstrated, and it should work out fine. If you need help, sorry, we have phone number and email. Okay, but we need to get back to the core of this. The purpose today is to make sure that, frankly, you don't have any excuses. Oh, I don't know how to answer the questions that they might ask, or oh, I don't know what the process is. This is the time that we should be resolving that. Sorry, let me get back over to that right landing page. So what are the questions, the objections, what's keeping you from beating the socks off Jenny and Norman? I mean, this is just 4 deals, right? This isn't like, oh my gosh, they figured out how to solve the world's climate crisis. They referred in 4 deals. And of course, our model is hopefully you just do 1 a day. That'll get you to the 100,000 a month. So we don't have to be superstars. But the point is, there's a lot of people that do more than 1 a day. All right, so Karen, you're on the line. Karen, can you type in the Q&A, because you've referred in 0 people so far, Karen, and I see that as my fault, not yours. You're smart, you're pretty, you're motivated, you're educated, you're driven. But Karen, I fucking failed you, right? You've made $0 thus far. What is it you need from me? And I guess this is a question for any of you. Any of you that didn't get paid yesterday, what is it that we need? All right, so Dr. Davis is at 15 this week. Very good. And you're right, we didn't do the week top performers. We started to do day by day. And so let's go back through the process, because she's asking a little bit about the process. So once your prospect, okay, so anyone that needs a landing page, reach out to us so we can figure out why you don't have it. I'm not smart or multitask capable enough to solve individual problems during the call. So Katori, call us or email us. We'll get that resolved. Okay, so let's go through the process. So clients fill this out. Hopefully you're on the phone with them. You don't have to be. 1 minute later, they get the link to complete the app. If they don't fill it out, they'll get it again day 2. So for 5 days, they'll get daily text prompting them to get engaged. Not to harass them. They've opted in, but it's just simply to prompt them to move forward. Once they have filled out the application, which is a simple 1-page app, it comes into us. And so normally within 24 hours, we'll process it. Now, I will admit we had a little spike in business. So today we'll be processing yesterday's business. So there's a little bit of a lag, but we'll get caught up before the end of the day today. So then when we run the proposal for each prospect, then we will communicate with them their offers. Everyone gets an offer, right? Everyone gets an offer. Everyone gets at least 1 offer. Many people get many offers. And we'll typically copy you on that communication so you know what offers they have received. Then at that point, the client can and should accept 1 or more of those offers. So Dr. Davis, I'd say let's schedule a call and let's just look through your process. And we all have these weekly one-on-ones, and so the weekly one-on-ones are great. We did hire a new program manager. She is working. We had a staff meeting last evening. So by Tuesday of next week, day after Memorial Day, she'll be ready to start interfacing with each of you. She has more bandwidth than I have, and so she'll be your interface of what the status is of each of the people you've referred in. All right, but what we're trying to accomplish here are objections. So when you're trying to ask someone, you're using this paragraph and you're saying as little as possible, because the more you talk, the less likely they are to participate. You're giving them a quick introduction, and in a perfect world, you're on the phone with them when they're filling this out. What objections are any or all of you facing that's keeping you from driving people through? Because either you don't have leads, and if you don't have leads, that's a problem that needs to be fixed. Or if you have leads that are not filling out your funding proposal landing page, then you suck at what we'll call conversion. And so we need to discuss that. And that's kind of the point today. If you don't have a lot of people filling out your funding proposal, it's only 4 pieces of information, right? 4 pieces. Now, Gilbert makes a good point. If someone goes to your landing page, but they don't fill this out, there's no tracking. We don't know about them. If they go to your landing page, fill this out, check the box, check the blue, then what's going to happen is a confirmation text is going to be sent to them. And so with that confirmation text that's sent to them, then they have to type yes, Y-E-S, to accept for further communication. Why am I explaining this? If they don't fill this out and type yes to that text, then they're not in our database. They're really not a prospect. So if they type no, or I don't know what they type, or they don't type anything. So just so you know, for them to be in the funnel, it's technically not based upon them filling this out. It's based upon them filling this out. They'll get the text to the mobile number provided. And once they type yes, then we know about them. Then they'll receive the follow-ups. Then we can help them. Then we can report back to you. But if they don't fill this out and type yes with the initial text that's sent to them instantly. I hear once in a while, oh, my client didn't get a text. Unless they have some sort of phone service, some sort of, I don't know, cheap ass mobile phone service where they can't get text, the system works. So I don't think that'll be an issue. All right, so Robin's got the next question. And this is great. That's what we're here. We're here to answer questions. Like Foo's got his hand up. Foo, you need to type the question in, right? So Foo, you'll type the question like Robin did. All right, so Robin's asked, so let's say she's got someone that comes through. And what we have to remember, Robin, is everyone will get at least one offer. Everyone. So thus, no one will get 0 offers. Everyone will get at least one offer. Now, many people will get multiple offers. What will the offers look like? We don't know until we run it through, right? Some people get over 100,000 of offers first tranche. Some people less, some people more. It varies. So that's the nice thing is you don't have to worry, oh, someone, they told me they got really bad credit. This won't work for them. No, there are no minimum credit scores. There's really no excuse as long as they're willing to participate. Hopefully that answered your question, Robin. All right, so what other questions, concerns, objections are you facing? So again, it's fine that you ask questions about the further process. I don't mind that at all. But our goal today is just to make sure that you're confident and competent enough to drive people in. If you can't do that, you're not going to make money unless you're a team leader. And that's what Anthony's asking. So let's go to the team leader. So we are looking for team leaders. There's no cost to be a team leader. There's no strings attached. But with that being said, team leaders develop a team of affiliates. Team leaders are paid 2% override from the production of their, let's say, their team. Make it simple. So what's an example? So let's say Katori. Katori is a team leader. So Katori's going to have not only this landing page, she would also have a landing page that looks like this that's coded to her, just to explain. All right, so she's a team leader. So she has Joe become an affiliate under her. And again, we're not MLM or network marketing, and so I don't want to use the terms that suggest that. But anyway, it's just simpler. So which means if Joe signed up through her page, her dedicated page, then he's in her organization. So then every client that Joe brings in, so what's the economic impact? So every client gets at least 100,000, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Absolutely. Is that too good to be true? No, we're going to work with them to help them be fundable enough to qualify. So that's the real deal. So that's what's in it for the client. What's in it for Joe? Joe gets at least 5,000. Well, why is that? Where does that come from? That's 5% of the 10% performance fee that we collect from the clients that are going through the process. Joe gets half. Not Joe's, Joe gets half. All right. Well, what did Katori get? Katori brought Joe to the table. That sucks. She's left out. No. Katori gets at least 2,000 from every client that Joe brings in. So that's what you call passive income, right? So then if in a month, let's say Joe is normal, he's average. So if Joe is the average Joe, that's funny, Dr. Davis. Yeah, I didn't think of that. So if Joe is average, he brings in 20 deals per month, one a day, taking weekends and holidays off. So what does that mean? Joe makes 100,000. Katori makes 20,000. Now, Katori might say, well, that sucks. I'm only making 20,000 a month from each of my affiliates. That's not fair. Well, Katori, number one, you didn't generate the client. Joe did. So Joe's got to get paid his part. This is passive override. And Katori, if 20,000 is not enough for you, then bring on 2 Joes. So now you're at 40,000. Or bring on 3 Joes. Now you're at 60,000, right? It's linear, right? So you're not capped at that. But I know some people get real insulted. 20,000 a month overrides, that's piss poor. I'd never do that. Well, then bring in 2 affiliates, bring in 3, right? It's linear. All right, so we digressed a bit because of the questions, but let's get back. Before we end today, and we'll go back over to your landing page. Everyone should have a landing page that looks like this. What questions does anyone have regarding? All right, so Katori has a question about funding. So we're promising the client, we're guaranteeing. So a promise, a contractual guarantee, it's a legal promise, it's a commitment. Every client will get at least 100,000. Sometimes people say, well, that's too good to be true. That's a scam. How could that be? It's not. We're going to work with them to get them fundable enough to qualify. So it'll happen. With that happening, then of course, then the affiliates get paid, and then the team leaders get paid. So, but we don't have to stop, and I think that's what Katori's point is. We don't have to stop at 100,000. I mean, if you and I were a realtor, and someone said, "Well, I want a more expensive house. Will you help me buy a more expensive house?" We'd say, "Well, hell yeah," because realtors make 6% of the deal. So sure, if you don't want just 100,000, you want 200,000, great, or you want 1 million, but it doesn't mean that they don't have to qualify for the funding. Of course they do. We're going to work with them. All right. So Sanya's asking about the new lender for the startup program. The answer to that is yes. Karen's asking, can your affiliates bring in affiliates? The answer is yes. Fu's asking a little bit about interest rates and terms, and that's a great point. So we don't know until the client goes through the process because we're not the lender. You're not the lender. We're not the lender. So what will happen is clients will fill this out. They'll get the offers, and what? They get to pick the offers that they want, and they can decline those that they don't want. So it's if they were forced where we said, hey, you have to take whatever you get, then there would be real concern. But that's not the proposition. Hey, you'll get your offers, and if you like it, take it. If you like multiple offers, take multiple offers. And if you don't, right? So you and I, Fu, should not be quoting loan terms until the loan offer is extended by the lender and then communicated to us. We should not talk about it because we don't know. We can't speak of things that's not within our purview, that's not within our control, because we don't want to lie to people. So will they get a 6% loan, or maybe it'll be 7.5%? Maybe it'll be 8.25%. Hell, I don't know. We've got to run through the numbers. That's the purpose of the funding proposal. Is this is going to over 40 different lenders that have signed up to be part of this consortium that are competing to provide funding to the people you send in. but they make independent decisions on loan amounts and loan terms. So we don't want to, we got to stay in our lane. You're smart, Fu. I'm not so smart, but we've got to stay in our lane. And so when it comes to, well, what's the loan terms going to exactly look like? Fuck, I don't know. We got to fill this out and let's find out. If you like them, take them. If you don't, turn them down. Okay, let's see. Karen's asking about, so we're not multi-level. So we have an override for team leaders, but no, we're not MLM. So we don't pay 4 levels or 5 levels or 25 levels. We're real simple. We have affiliates, which we do a 50-50 split with, and we have an override for team leaders. All right, with that being said, I mean, at some point we need to go generate. Yesterday was actually a little bit of an off day. If we would have looked earlier in the week, our top performers were much above 4, but I just want to be transparent and accurate. So yesterday we had 2 top performers, both at 20,000. If you'd like to make 20,000 or more today, we can make it happen. Just get your landing page and take action. Take action. All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Let us know what we can do to help you. Bye-bye.